Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. I've brought you down to my new friend, this tree, to have a little chitty chat about this awakening journey. But before I hop into that, because today I want to talk a little bit about being alone and anxiety, which is what's coming up for me in the energies as of late. But before I do, I just wanted to say thanks for those that showed up for the Ask Be Anything. That was a little bit of fun, which is nice to have a little bit of something. So I really appreciate those that showed up and asked some questions. And, if it's something that people enjoy, I'll consider doing it again. I'm thinking the solstice might be a good day to do that in June. I also, I just want to do a shout out really to every warrior that's on this path, because I want to be honest. Like, this is not an easy journey at all. And I feel like a lot of representations of spiritual awakenings is like, yeah, it's difficult, and then look how great everything is. Maybe Gopi Krishna's rendition of an awakening is closer to what I'm having, because, and you, I know I'm not alone. Because this has been a long time, There was a piece of me that really hoped that once I got somewhere safe, which is unbelievable, I'm still in awe and I'm still so grateful. And there was this naive notion that, right, I'm here now, I can just move on with my life and everything's going to be hunky-dory, on to the next. And that's not what reality is. Reality is my body has been in, like, my nervous system specifically has been for so many years, so many decades, in a constant state of clench and fight or flight, and coping, and covering the coping with a multitude of numbing, that once you finally get somewhere safe, the body doesn't know that. The mind doesn't know that. So I find myself going through waves of what could be described as thawing, or waves of, it's like ice cracking and releasing stuff. And what it's releasing is a lot of anxiety, like so much anxiety. There's a constant process of reassuring myself, and using all the tools and tips out there, looking around and seeing, okay, there's a lake, there's a tree, there's a rock, I'm going to ground, get my feet on the ground, breathe, box breath, slow breath, this breath, that breath, prayer, grounding foods, and retraining the mind to understand that I am in fact safe. And it's not as easy as just turning a corner. I really wish it was. And I also wish people could understand, a lot of us that are on this awakening journey, and I think those that resonate with me most of all, are having similar awakenings to mine. And you can't just look at an awakening through a bubble through a lens that says, this has just been a 2-year or a 7-year thing. This really has been our whole lives for a lot of us, because I know for myself that I very strongly resonate with the wounded healer archetype, otherwise known as kind of the modern day shaman. And when you go through a shaman's initiation or a healer's initiation, there is challenges that date back from the time of your birth, really. And you've lived your whole life with certain challenges, so that when you step into the role of guide, counselor, healer, teacher, that you're coming from a place of experiential learning. You're not book smarts, okay? Although, I did well in college, that was great. That knowledge served me in helping me heal myself. It's like I had to go take an addictions counseling course so that when I was in my late 40s and needed to quit all my addictions, I had the awareness of, different theory of addictions and different processes, and so I knew what to expect. So the mission that is healer, heal thyself, starts from day one. So day one that we got here to this planet, and also if you resonate with starseed or light worker, we were born into toxic family structures. We experienced abuses, abandonments, betrayals, neglect, and trauma, like trauma up the wazoo. And in our lives, we survived. So kudos to us for surviving in whatever way we could, right? So for me, that was grabbing hold of smoking. That was grabbing hold of drinking. That was grabbing hold of toxic dating behaviors. That was grabbing hold of anything and everything I could to stay afloat, right? And my view on addictions, from both a learned place as well as an experiential place, is very much what I compare to drowning, because when you have been born in toxic structures, and that extends beyond just the family, our scholastic experiences may have been very traumatizing as well. I was bullied quite severely as a child. Amazing to me is she apologized. My childhood bully apologized to me a couple years back, which blew my mind. Because I had carried that with me my whole life. And as well as struggles within the education system on an academic level, being autistic, and nobody even knew the term autistic when I was, in the 70s and 80s. The closest I ever came to finding out about autism, and I don't even know if they called it that then, was that movie Rain Man, and I certainly wasn't Rain Man. My math skills were the opposite end of the spectrum, and I was failing math multiple times because I had dyslexia, which nobody knew, and really nobody cared. They just assumed I was stupid. So then there's more traumas that are compounded onto the family traumas, and then there's traumas outside of that even further within the medical structure, because you're drowning, right, in this world that we've just been seeded into. We come down with these extrasensory perceptions, and we are overwhelmed, and everything in us is saying something's wrong, something's off. And every single layer of the world is gaslighting us into thinking that the problem is us because we're not getting with the program. We're not fitting into the box. And so we desperately seek anything and everything to help us. And I did all the normal paths that you're supposed to go, you're supposed to go and ask for help from a doctor because the doctors are healers, right? Well, the doctors misdiagnosed me more times than I can count. They didn't take into consideration or understanding the environment that I was raised in. And so I carried with me these labels of major depression from the time I was 20 and general anxiety disorder, not ever understanding the root cause of that, right? And so when you've been given the misinformation and you believe misinformation about yourself and you're still not coping, you're high functioning in that you can communicate and you can go out in the world and get a job, but you're not gelling, right? Then you're going to be like, okay, well, I tried this and I tried that and it didn't work, so I'm going to try all these other things because it's literally maybe not literally, it's metaphorically like drowning, like a boat going down and you're flailing in a sea of ice cold water and a door floats by and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna hop on this door because there's nothing else around, nobody's saving me, where's the rescue team? And there is no rescue team. And so instead you're flailing and you grab hold of the door and you climb onto that door, and that door is addictions. So that can be different things for different people because there's 101 way to be addicted to something. There's cigarettes, there's drugs, there's pharmaceuticals, there's going to the gym, there's overworking, there's love. I could easily say I was a woman who loved too much and I just wanted to grab hold of people, save me. So there's food, just food. And we were talking about food in just Ask Me Anything meeting the other day. So we grab hold of the door and that's all we have. And then this awakening process kicks off. And we have to let go of the door. And we let go of the door and we swim to maybe a raft, okay, is the next thing. And we're like, I'm going to try this for a while. So for me, I let go of the door and I swam to the raft. And on the raft that happened to be floating by was cannabis. And cannabis really helped me for a period of time until it didn't. Because cannabis is still just a raft. I'm not on dry land. And so for most of my life, I'm floating on this door, sometimes just a life jacket, perhaps. And then I'm on this raft and it's floating me to the next thing. And then I'm on a lifeboat and I'm like, okay, great. This is better. I guess this is good. I can let go now of the raft. And then the lifeboat brings me to a bigger boat. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I can let go of the raft. I don't need the raft anymore. And then I'm on the bigger boat and I'm like, oh, okay, this is okay, I'm okay. And now, I'm on dry land. I'm actually on dry land for the first time in my life. It's been 3 months of dry land. And I don't know if you've ever been on a boat, or another one I can think of is downhill skiing or something. When you're doing something all day that involves this kind of emotion, and then you get home and you're in bed or something, you're still lying in bed and you're still feeling this kind of emotion, even though you're on dry land and you're not moving. And so that's what it's been is for the last few months is oh my God, I'm on dry land. I'm safe. What the fuck is safe? What is safe? My body doesn't know what safe is. It has no idea what safe is. So it's been in a constant state of hypervigilance, scanning what's the next threat, like what's going to happen next, and the anxiety of like preparedness, because when you're on a door floating in the ocean, metaphorically, you're constantly looking for rainstorms or for sharks or for the next thing that's going to come along and attack you. And when you're on dry land in a safe place, you're like, you're the process is become habitual, right? You yourself have this habitual habit of getting into fear and getting into anxiety and getting into panic. And so since I've been here, it's been like a constant reassuring the mind, bringing back, getting myself into mindfulness, getting myself into presence, like I'm in this moment right here, right now. Like none of those things that I'm thinking about are actually here. That none of these things that I'm worried about, like, oh my God, is my house gonna blow up? Like, honestly, I had that thought. Because it's got a big propane tank in the back, and I'm like, oh no, what if that happens, or what if this happens, or what if I get evicted, or what if I lose my mind, or like, because the mind it is programmed to run a hypervigilance program, and it's been very challenging. And then this last month, it exacerbated. Instead of settling into presence and settling into the moment, I was like in panic again of these taxes. And now, listen, I get that taxes are challenging for most people, but my taxes from last year were like insane because I had a house, I didn't have a house. I moved 3 times. I had money coming in that was from all different currencies. I didn't have a filing system because I moved 3 times. I had renters, I didn't have renters. I had medical expenses I had to find all the receipts for. Like, and I still haven't fully resolved it, but it's triggering all the like fear of authority and oh my God, and I feel so humiliated because I'm so disorganized and I'm such a loser. And then so I'm like, oh no, now we're back into critical thinking, and we're back doing those things because this energy of being knocked about is it takes time. It takes so much time of just sitting still. Like even when I sit with my kriyas, because I get kriyas, you'll notice in my head gets all wobbly sometimes, and I'll regularly do this because my whole nervous system is not used to being still. It doesn't know what stillness is, nor does it know what safety is. So I am attempting to do sober this last leg, I'm hoping, of my awakening journey, because Spirit has guided me throughout this to let go of all the padding, all the numbing, all the tools that I used previously when anxiety would arise, or previously when fear or panic or paranoia or crazy thinking. Oh, just have a joint. Oh, I feel much more relaxed now. Yeah, of course. But I am attempting to do this last stretch of my awakening by using me. By using me and retraining my own interior chemistry and physiology so that I can derive safety from within. And with that comes facing not only the anxiety, the fear, the panic, the paranoia, but also it means facing the aloneness. And I think that for me has been, without question, the most challenging part of this awakening journey. Like, a lot of people are naturally introverted and love spending time on their own. And I do enjoy some time on my own, but there has always been in me, since the time I was adopted, this void in my heart space of wanting to connect to someone. Like anyone, you know, it's normal human development to have a person, you know, that's normally your mother. But because I was adopted, that cord was severed, causing severe trauma, leaving me a void. And then when I was adopted, I was in a family, but I was not a part of, like, there wasn't a safe person, okay? So first I was talking about safe places. There wasn't a safe person for me to turn to. In fact, it was not safe at all. It was the opposite of safe. It was very, very challenging. And so because of that, one of the addictions that I developed was, you know, a love addiction, a people addiction, a need of people addiction, and a trying to connect with people, you know, like, are you my kismet soul mate? And I've met people through my life that, you know, you'd have that like tingle and be like, oh my God, yes, you're my person. When you spend your whole life seeking connection, the problem therein lies that you're willing to connect to people you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Because there's a sense of desperation. There's a sense of, you know, won't anybody connect? And so you take what's on offer, and what's on offer oftentimes is abusive, toxic. And so I look back, and my whole life there's been a seeking of especially wanting mean people to care about me. Because if I could get mean people to care about me, I could prove to my mother that I am worthy of being loved. I'm worthy of being cared about, right? See, this time it's different. So we try to reenact our child wounds, which for me was being raised by a narcissistic, malignant mother, and showing the world that I am lovable, right? Because she routinely said that I was not. So in my childhood, as I mentioned, I adored this woman who was my bully. You know, I just wanted her to pay attention to me and love me, is what I wanted. I wanted this little clique of mean girls to be my friends. So much so that I didn't even see on the periphery the good people that I could have gone and hung with instead. Instead, I suffered in this longing of this energy. And then the same played out in the field of men, where I so desperately wanted a man to recognize in me, me. And instead, I ended up attaching to someone who's clearly evil. His actions are evil, and so therefore I think he's evil. That may be judgmental, so be it. And on my awakening path, I've had to disconnect from one person after another. Like, it's insane how many, because all of my connections seemingly were toxic, except for that with my son. Everyone else in my world, like, I lost everyone. I lost all of my friends, you know, people who I thought were my friends, who I had like a connection that seemed, you know, important. I lost all those. I lost my marriage. I lost my immediate family. I lost my extended family, who, in retrospect, because that's been coming up a lot for me lately, in retrospect, I'm like, how did I even think that was family? Because anybody that's been raised by a narcissist knows you get triangulated against. So she's been manipulating, my mother was manipulating the situation throughout my entire life, from the time that I was a child, so that I was triangulated against the rest of my extended family. I was sitting here even today, and like, not once, I'm 53 now, not once in my entire life has any single one of them ever reached out to me. They've responded me reaching out to them, but they've never once reached out to me and tried to cultivate a relationship with me, because they don't realize, I realize, but they don't realize that they too were manipulated, right? They were fed whatever story they were fed, no different than I kept getting the story. So like, I suppose my closest cousin, and I have like, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 cousins, and not one of them ever reached out to cultivate a relationship with me in all of my life. And one, I kind of thought maybe I could have a relationship with her. And, you know, my whole life I was told, I want to give you an example of how triangulation works, right? So anytime she would come up in conversation between me and my mother would say to me, "It's too bad that you don't like your cousin." And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't even like know my cousin. Why? And so that was the program. That was the script that I was supposed to pay attention to. There was 0 point in trying to tell my mother that I didn't feel that way, because my feelings were not my feelings. My feelings were what she told me to feel. And my opinions weren't my opinions. My opinions were what she told me my opinions were. So if she concocted a story in her head, like I didn't like my cousin, then that meant I was supposed to keep my distance from my cousin. Like, I understood, because I lived with the woman. Like, I understood her triangulation, and I always knew what she expected from me. And so it was like, okay, keep a distance, keep a distance, keep a distance. This is not something we're supposed to cultivate, you know? And like, she didn't want me having a close relationship with any of my family. Not distant family, or even like within the family. She was the gatekeeper of all relationships, you know? If I called home, it was, my dad was also like, he knew what was expected of him, so immediately he'd go, I'll get your mother. So I wasn't allowed to just have a thing with my dad. I wasn't allowed to have a thing with my brother, right? He'd already been long triangulated against. And I certainly wasn't allowed to have a thing with my family. My mother wanted me over here as a scapegoat, so she could go and say to people, you know, oh, she's so, you know, she's got so many problems. She's such a problem child, or she's got emotional disturbances, or she's got this issue. You know, she'd paint me however she would paint me. So, of course, they believed it. They believed whatever she said, because they had no other reference point, because they never once ever asked me anything. Not a single solitary thing ever did they go to the effort of, hey, let's wonder what she's really like, or how she really feels, or what kind of, like, maybe we could have our own family connection. Never once. So triangulation kept me isolated within the structure that is supposed to be your connection. And so because of that, I was desperate to connect to anyone outside, and there's a Jane's Addiction song. Jane's Addiction is one of my favorite bands from the time I was quite young, called 3 Days, and in the song there's a line that goes, I choose no kin and adopted strangers. So as a young person in my 18, 19, 20s, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to choose my kin, because my kin don't choose me anyways. So I'll choose someone else. I'll choose somewhere else to connect, and that'll be a husband. Getting married at the age of 20 was insanity, but that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I gotta find my family. Where the fuck's my family? And that didn't work. And so then I went on and kept looking for my family to connect into. Inside, having this void space of feeling so utterly alone, like so incredibly alone. And this dynamic played out in like so many ways. I lived in Ireland by myself with raising my child for 10 years, which was incredibly painful and difficult and like lonely, like the lonely that I felt, because I tried to plug in to my son's father's family, and that didn't end up going so well, because he left before I gave birth and ended up getting together with his person, I guess. And she didn't like me. She didn't like that I existed, and made it very difficult for the rest of the family members to have any connection with me. Like, I was disinvited from family events, even though I birthed one of theirs. And like, the pain of that, like the betrayal of that was like so brutal. It was unbelievably brutal. I never said a word. I was silent. I regret not saying a word. I should have told. I was asked why I didn't come to that event. And I kept quiet. I kept cover for these people that disinvited me. It just, something in me broke. And so I was like, right, I got to need to learn to be stoic and take care of myself and just be myself and not connect. So that void space just grew. It was like a black hole in my heart, leaving me incredibly open and vulnerable when I did meet my ex-husband, who love bombed the shit out of me and filled that hole with lies, manipulation, deceit. But for me, I ate it up. Like, I absolutely ate it up, because I was like, oh, here's my person. This is going to be my family. And then almost from day one, he was starting to triangulate me from his family members and his friends. And I was so needing something to fill this hole. I was like, okay, I'll let go of having a connection with her. I'll let go of having a connection with them. I'll let go because this person shows up for me. This person connects with me. And when this twin situation showed up and gave me what I needed to finally escape from that, I will be forever grateful, regardless of anything else, regardless of the fact that, like, he left without a word of, like, acknowledging anything. He saved my life. He saved my life. And even though I did the heavy lifting, but he gave me the motivation. That's why, somebody asked the other day, do I believe in this twin flame journey? And I'm like, absolutely. 100% I do, because what I felt was real. What I felt was real. And how it impacted me was real. It's changed my life in every conceivable way possible. So it's done what it's supposed to do. It isn't just about, I'm going to come in and fill the hole. It's about, I'm going to come in and show you the hole. I'm going to show you the hole in your heart that needs to be filled, and you're going to go do the work and fill it. It's not, I'm going to show up and fill it for you or fix any of these problems for you. That's not what the journey is about. That's why it's not a love story. Like, it's a spiritual awakening. It's your spiritual awakening on steroids, on speed. You get this mirror shine back to you all your wounds. And my biggest wound was this giant hole in my chest. And so Spirit has come along since that and taken away all of the false connections that I had previously used to fill this hole in my chest. And on my awakening, the physical pain has been insane. Insane. As I've been purging layer after layer after layer of grief, of loneliness, of just torture, like absolute torture. But it had to come out. Like, it's had to come out. And I'm still processing. And so in the last little while, especially in this last new moon, you know, it's overwhelming. And somebody recently said to me, you know, why don't you just join a group? And I'm like, oh, you don't get it, do you? No, because joining a group or attempting to connect through, like, online dating, I don't even know what that was, because, like, I was there for, like, 3 days a week at most. And Spirit was like, okay, you're good. So I have no idea what that was. But attempting to connect, you know, looking for it is only like giving an addict another fix, is what it is. Attempting to find your people locally when Spirit has specifically put you into an isolation tank is literally like falling off the wagon. It's not going to solve the problem. If I seek to solve the problem outside of myself in groups of people or through dating or through any of those things, it's not going to solve the loneliness. It's not going to solve the void that's here. What's only things that's going to solve that is sitting in it and crying and grieving and, you know, self-soothing and loving and grounding and healing and doing all of this stuff. That's the only thing that's going to heal me. Nobody else can heal me, especially when the problem itself is needing people. If the problem, it's like a heroin addict going, if I just take this heroin, it's going to help me with my lack of heroin problem. If I just take these people, even though they don't quite give me what I need and we're not really resonating and it's kind of abandoning myself or betraying myself or abusing myself or settling, that's exactly the same thing. Like, it's... So the only way to solve the loneliness problem is to detox the loneliness. The only way to solve the trauma in a heart space is for you yourself to fill your heart space. It's not easy. This whole journey has not been easy. You know, our lives have not been easy. The traumas have not been easy. The addictions have not been easy. The coping mechanisms worked until they didn't work. And then, you know, we're put through this transformation that defies logic on every single way, is rather brutal. And all we can really do is this. Is sit here and wait and feel and allow time to be the healer. And it's funny, I was pulling cards, I pulled a card for myself this morning, and I kind of laughed a little bit, and that's why I ended up doing this video, because the card, I don't know here if you can see it, I'm on a slant down here, but it's soul family. Soul family. You're part of a team of souls. Call in support. And so that reminded me, and one of the lessons that I've been learning lately is that I'm not alone in this. Even though I'm alone, very alone now, I'm not alone in this. There's so many of us that are going through this awakening process, this twin flame journey, this ascension path, this healing journey, this wounded healers initiation, this shaman's initiation, whatever you want to call it. And we're all having to face all of these things in isolation. And, you know, I did some writing yesterday because I honor you. I honor you guys. You are my family. You are my family. You're more family than I've ever known. I am so grateful for the support that I've received through my YouTube over the last 4 years that I've been doing this, because you guys kept me alive. Plain and simple. I'm just going to say what it is. You kept me alive at times that I didn't think that I was going to get through, when I was literally holding onto the grass for dear life. And, you know, strangers. I've adopted strangers because strangers have shown me kindness, care, compassion, understanding. They've seen me, they've heard me in a way that I've never been seen or heard before in my life. They've taught me that, you know, even at a distance, that there are people out there that understand me, that this void that I have previously existed within has kind of like turned in on itself, or is expressing outwards. I don't know, like I can see it in my mind's eye, like a black hole, and then like it comes back out the other way, and in this outer expression there's others that resonate with my stories because they've experienced the same abuses and abandonments and betrayals and initiations and challenges, you know. So I thank you. Ultimately, thank you for showing up for me in the middle of the night sometimes, from people from all over the world. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. I'm still doing the work, and I think it's going to take more time than I had assessed, because I'm always in a little bit of a rush. And I don't know what the future looks like. I can sit back now, you know, like last month was like a crazy push of Aries energy. I feel like I can slow down a little bit. And time. That's the message that I'm getting. All in due time. In time, it will all... This too shall pass, as the saying goes. So to everyone else who's struggling with anxiety and calming the nervous system and aloneness on this awakening path, I'm sending you so much love, so much love. Peace. Peace in.